All right, I would like to welcome everybody to our parent meeting for our spring soccer season 2023. We're looking forward to a great season. I'm fixing to give you a few tips, some information regarding the season, as well as some important dates to remember. Before I do that, I'm going to open this in prayer and we'll get started. Father, I just come before you. I thank you for this opportunity to get to play the game of soccer. I pray for each of the young athletes that are fixing to start their season. I pray for protection and safety well as just growth in the sport and enjoyment for it. Thank you and praise you and ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. First and foremost, I would like to say welcome to our spring season. I know in looking over some of the registrations, I see some familiar names, I see some new names, and so I'm excited to get to meet everybody as our season is quickly approaching. This year, we've had a great turnout for our soccer season, and so I'm looking forward to that. The first thing I did want to mention is our location for our practices, games, evaluations, everything, and that is 1823 Westover Road. If you're familiar with Tifton, Carpenter Road, which is where the main YMCA is located, if you were to take a right away from Walmart from the main Y, go down through two red lights, there is a fire station, and it is behind the fire station across from the YMCA pool. It is in the fields right across from there. And I will show you a picture of the fields as well as a diagram and a layout of what all of that looks like in regards to this year. Also, I'm going to share the screen, the information sheet. I know most of you have probably at least seen this at one point or another in the registration process, but I did want to go over just a few things with it, just kind of to refresh. So our first practice, as you see, is March 21st. That will be next Tuesday, a week from the date this recording is published. So it is March 21st, 2023. As you can see down here, our first game will be the week of April the 11th. That is a Tuesday. It is scheduled to have 2 weeks of practice, 4 weeks of games, and we're going to take off the week of spring break. So I do know that there's been a lot of questions in regards to spring break and things like that. And so the week of spring break, we will be taking off. And just so you know, the date of that will be the week of the 27th through the 31st. That is spring break week. We will not have any practices scheduled that week. I know a lot of people are traveling or out of town for the spring break in that week. And so we will have practice the week of the 21st, the week of the April 4th, and then our games will start the following week. And all of that can be found, most of that can be found right here on our information sheet. Also, just some important things with that as far as times of practice and games for everybody. So as you can see, the 3 to 4-year-olds are at 5:15, 5 to 6-year-olds are at 6, the 7 to 8-year-olds are at 7. Now I know initially I think the early information sheet might have had 5:15 or 5 or a different type for the 7 to 8-year-olds, but they will be at 7. The 9 to 10-year-olds will be at 6. The 11 to 12 boys and girls will be at 7. And now this is one that has changed a little bit from what you see on the information sheet, is our 13 and older age group will end up being at 5 o'clock. And I know that's a little bit early, but with all of the teams and things we have had registered, the only time we could have a position and time open on the field is at 5 o'clock for our older age group. And that's the 13-year-olds and older. It will be at 5 o'clock Tuesday and Thursday nights. And with that, everything is scheduled to be on a Tuesday or Thursday at the time mentioned here. If we have a rainout game or a makeup game, those games will be scheduled for the Monday following generally. So everything's Tuesday, Thursday with an occasional practice or game on a Monday. Now, I will say the important information, there's also been a little bit of confusion on my part. So the coaches training, that has already passed. As far as the coaches meeting, that is Friday, March 17th. That is this Friday coming up the week this recording is posted. And as you can see, the parent meeting is going to be posted, of course, to our YouTube page, and you are watching that currently. Now, as far as the evaluations, this is another thing that we've had to change. We've had a lot of people register in some of these leagues, and so we're going to try and give ourselves a little bit more time. I know for the evaluation on the 14th, which is today, it might be a little bit late since this recording is coming out just shortly before, but we're going to start our U9, which is the 7 to 8-year-old evaluation at 5 o'clock we're going to start the 9 to 10-year-old evaluation at 6 o'clock, and then we're going to start the the 11 and older evaluations at 7 o'clock. Now, if you get there on the times mentioned on the evaluation, we're not going to not evaluate you, but just to make sure that we can get everybody in as efficiently as possible, we're just asking the 7 to 8-year-olds to be there at 5, the 9 to 10-year-olds to be there at 6, and then 11, 12, and 13 and older to be there at 7. That's the times we'll have the evaluations. We will try and make sure to move that as fast as possible. That way nobody's too long waiting or anything along those lines. But I did want to just make you aware of that information in regards to the season, evaluations, practice, some things that have changed since the information sheet, and things that have remained the same. And so now I'm going to move over to our the layout of the fields, just so everybody kind of has an idea of what you're looking at. So as you see on the screen, the bottom left has got the pool and aeronasium. We have parking lot 1, 2, 3, and then we have 2 different sets of fields. So the fields over on the left, the only soccer fields are going to be the 2 in the middle, and that's field 11 and field 12. Those will be the 3 to 4, 5 to 6, and 7 to 8-year-olds will be playing on those 2 fields. And then on the fields on the right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, and 5 will be our 3 to 4, 5 to 6, and 7 to 8-year-old fields. And then 3, 4, and 6 will be our 9 to 10, 11 to 12, and then also 13 and older fields will be right over here. So I'm going to just go over that real quick once again. Field 1, 2, 5, 11, and 12. Those fields are going to be 3 to 4, 5 to 6, and 7 to 8-year-old fields. Fields 3, 4, and 6 will be our 9 to 10, 11, 12, and 13 and older fields. So that's what you're going to be looking at. Now, one important thing. I know this has been a problem in the past in regards to parking. I've had a lot of questions and things along those lines. So in regards to parking lot 3, pretty simple. It's got the lines on it. Parking lot 1 and 2, however, do not have individual parking lines. So I just ask that whenever you get there, please park as close to the car next to you as possible. I mean, obviously you can't park right on top of them, but please park and leave enough space for you to get out. But I like to say don't leave a half of a car length in between, because then it takes up spots where other people could be parking. And I know that's always been a big issue in our spring season. Also, it is a little bit far, but if all of these parking lots are full over here behind the YMCA pool in parking lot 3, it's not on this diagram, but there are we have some pecan trees and an orchard over here, and you are more than welcome to park in that area, especially in the top part of it if the other parking lots are full. But once again, if you would, just please make sure to park as, within reasonable distance of the car next to you. That way, everybody can fit in, everybody can be into the areas. So that is what we're looking like. We also have the concession stand and bathrooms will be in the middle of the 2 fields. You will see that when you get there. And then pictures on picture day, as you can see on the top right, will be over beside field 6 in the corner. Now, this will also be posted on our website. That way you can view that at a later date. But I just wanted to give you this so that way you can view it, get an idea of what it looks like before actual game day starts. Now, in regards to first practices, evaluations, a few things like that. So I'm going to start off with the evaluations. So for our 7 and older, so that's the 7 to 8, 9 to 10, 11 to 12, and 13 and older leagues, we do require everybody to come to the evaluations. Now, there are 2 dates. I didn't mention them earlier, but it's March 14th and 16th are the 2 dates. So one will be tonight, the night this video is posted, and the next one will be Thursday. You are only required to come to one evaluation. You do not have to come to both. The only people that will be at both is I ask if you are coaching that you kind of come to both. That way you can help out as well as get an idea of what each of the players will look like throughout the season. So that's what we're looking at in regards to evaluations. It's nothing as far as nobody's going to get cut. Nobody's going to get not placed on the team. It is strictly just to see the skill level of all of the players and then go from there. That way we can try and get the teams as even as possible. And that's why we require everybody to come, because if there's a player that does not come, it has the potential to affect the evenness and fairness of the teams. And we want to be as competitive and fair as we can throughout this season. So that's what we're looking at in regards to the evaluations. Now, the practices, as mentioned, those will be March 21st will be our first practices, and just kind of a general layout of what that will look like. So hopefully, assuming everything goes as planned, we will be able to have our teams picked by next Monday. I will give the coaches those rosters, and then that way the coaches can begin to contact their team, letting them know which field they're on for the practice. The times will not change. Hopefully, if something does, I will let the coaches know, and they'll be able to evaluate that. But they will let you know what field you are on, and let you know where to show up and what time and things along those lines. Now, there will be 2 teams practicing to a field, so each team will have one soccer goal. The coaches will have a bag of equipment that we will use for that, so I will give that to the coach. But everybody will come. Generally, the coach will probably just, make sure everybody's at the right place. We'll give the coach a roster, and he's going to check, make sure all of the information is correct. The main information that's very, very, very important is that the shirt sizes are correct. If there's any adjustments to your shirt size and you already know it, please stop by the front desk. That way we can go and try and get that adjusted. But if there's any adjustments, they must be made by the 21st. We are ordering shirts the 22nd because there is a little bit of a turnaround time that we have to get those in with. And so by the 21st, if there's any changes, make sure to get those to the coaches, make sure to get those to us. That way we can go from there. After they get that information checked off, they'll probably just do some simple skills and drills for some of the younger guys, the older ones that might be a little bit more advanced. But we will begin the practice, and we'll go about 45 minutes for that. After our practices are over, as in regards to the practice and the seasons are finished, and we start games, the games will be about the same. We'll show up at the time mentioned on the schedules, and then with those, we will begin to play the games. The game length vary depending on the age group, but we'll have those games starting shortly in the season. In regards to the schedule, I know you might be asking, well, how can I get my hands on a schedule, or what do we need to do in that? In regards to schedules, they are not finalized yet. We're still trying to just finalize some sponsors in a few different areas, trying to finalize times, teams, and things along those lines. So we do not have those. However, we are hoping to have those out by either the Monday or the Tuesday of practice, looking to get those finalized and out. And that leads into just one of the next areas that's always a big need here at the YMCA. I feel like it's something that's a nonstop process, and that is coaches. So first and foremost, very thankful for the coaches that are willing to volunteer their time and very willing to come forward and do and help each of your children play the game. Please make sure to tell your coach during the season, thank you. It is not easy. They are not being paid to coach. They're strictly doing that volunteer. I know some coaches are coaching their children. There's also some coaches that are just wanting to do it because they enjoy the game. So please, please, please make sure to tell your coach thank you and to be of assistance to your coach wherever possible. But I will also say, with that being said, we are still in need of some coaches in several of our leagues. So if you are interested or willing, or just say, hey, I know nothing about soccer, but I know y'all are in need and I would love to help out, please email me, Seth@tiftareaymca.org, and just say, hey, I'd love to get more information about the coaching, or come to the coaches meeting that was mentioned earlier, Monday, March the 17th, or excuse me, Friday, March the 17th. Friday, March the 17th. That will be this Friday. You can stop by the YMCA at 7 o'clock is when our meeting will be held. We would love to have you. We're excited for the season, but honestly, this season is very dependent upon our volunteer coaches. So without coaches, anything and everything we do would not be possible. And so if you would be willing, or even if you have a friend or somebody that you know that would be interested in coaching, please get them in touch with me. That way we can go about getting the season and just really having an enjoyable time with it. So that's what we've got in regards to coaches and things like that. Moving on into, I know I mentioned jerseys a little while ago, but uniform throughout the season. So as I mentioned, we will provide a shirt. The shirt will have the Y logo. It will also have the team sponsor on the name, and it should have a number on the back for the players. And so with that being said, we will provide that uniform as far as a jersey, but parents are responsible for providing the shorts, responsible for providing the cleats, shin guards, and then also socks to put over the shin guards. Now, I will say shin guards are a requirement for the 5 years old and over. And then for the 3 to 4, I encourage it, but it's not required. If for some reason you are having problems finding shin guards, please come to the concession stand and let us know. We would love to try and do our best that we can to assist in finding shin guards and getting those to you, but they are a requirement for the season. Also, some other things that you might be interested in having would be a soccer ball and a water bottle. The soccer ball, if you want to bring your own, you are more than welcome. I just ask that you please write your name on it. That way it does not get picked up with any of ours or any of that things along those lines. So just please make sure to write your name on the equipment, as well as water bottles. That way, if they're thirsty, they have something to drink. We will have a concession stand open throughout the season, but we also just, if you wanted to bring a water bottle, we do encourage that as well. In regards to shorts, we don't really have a specific requirement, but we do ask that for the picture day, everybody wears black shorts. That way everybody's matching, everybody's in the same color, and everybody looks kind of professional for our picture day. And the picture day also will be mentioned on your schedule whenever you get that first practice of the game. A couple of other important things, just as far as for reminders throughout the season, there's always the potential of weather popping up, whether that be, a rain shower, whether it be a thunderstorm or whatever it might be. But in the event that there is weather popping up, we have 2 ways that we look to allow parents to know about that. One of them is our weather hotline. That weather hotline, I would encourage you to write this down, put it in your phone. That way, if there's a question, you can call this number, but it is 229-528-9109. I'm going to repeat that. That's 229-528-9109. You can call that number, and it will have the updated in regards to what we're doing. Generally, it'll say, this is Tifton Area Weather Hotline. Today is March 14th or whatever the date is. And then it will go from there in regards to what is happening, what's going on with these seasons. We try and make that call at least 30 minutes prior to the game, just to give those that might be traveling from a longer distance away enough time to know. But please do know that we try and wait as long as possible so we don't have to cancel and reschedule. But the weather is unpredictable, and so sometimes the right call is made, sometimes it's not. We try and do our best, but please do know that the weather, as I'm sure you are well aware of living in South Georgia, is sometimes the most unpredictable thing possible. The other way that we do is I'm actually going to show you how to sign this up. If you want a text to come straight to your phone, you can go to our Y Game Time. Y Game Time will be the place to go. So I've already logged in, so I'm going to kind of back up to give you a look of what you will be seeing. So right here on the screen, you just type in ygametime.com. It will bring you to this screen. I know it says zip code or branch name. For some reason, the zip code does not work, but you can type in Tift area. It will pop up Tift area YMCA at the bottom, and then it will bring you to this page. In order to sign up for the weather alerts, you will just hit, once again, this sign up button, choose your program. You can choose the whole program as far as spring soccer or spring t-ball, but I would also encourage you to sign up for the individual 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 3 to 4, whichever one is your individual leagues. Just sign up for those. That way, if I'm sending a note specific to a league, you will get that, because if I'm sending it to a specific league, it will not go to the whole branches. So you can sign up for spring soccer there. I did want to mention that those are our 2 ways of communicating with parents. One is through text, and one is through you calling that weather hotline. And so that's what we've got in regards to the season this year. Now, just a few last things I did want to mention. So in regard to what the season looks like I said, we will have 2 weeks of games and then 4 weeks. Let me back up. I said 2 weeks of games. 2 weeks of practice. Let me say that again. 2 weeks of practice, and then we will have 4 weeks of games. So in the practice, that is for the coaches to decide. There's some autonomy in what they want to work on and what they feel is most necessary to work on. But in regards to the games, we will have that set up in the schedule. Now, I will say for some of our ages that have we have up to 10 teams in some of our leagues this year. I'm assuming we're able to get enough coaches to hold that. You might not play every team, but you will play at least each team one time. And so at the end of the season, we will take all of the teams in regards to first, second, third, and we will have the places along those lines as far as first, second, and third. So we will be competing back and forth with each of the teams in this season. But I did want to let everybody know that there is going to be different teams. Some of them have 4 in the age group. Some of them have 6. Some of them have 8. Some of them 10, and some of them even have 2. So that will kind of vary depending on how many we've had register in each of our programs. But I did want to let you know kind of what that's going to look like for the game, for the year, for the season, and things along those lines there. And so that is pretty much all that we have in regards to the season for this year. I know if you have any questions, feel free to email us. Email me, seth@chiefdairyymca.org. I'll do my best to get back with you as soon as possible. But other than that, that is all for our parent meeting. I do want to say thank you once again for participating in this season. Thank you for being involved in this parent meeting, and just thank you for all that you do in our community. Thanks, and look forward to seeing you soon.